All right, we got some roster updates to break down for you in today's video. I got onto the YouTube Shorts tab earlier on my walk into the studio, and I had a quick breakdown of the Saints signing Trai Turner to a one-year deal. I think it's a pretty interesting deal, and I'm going to give my thoughts, give some of my analysis, and why I think it also makes sense. However, the Saints are also reuniting with a legend. I'm sure you saw it in the thumbnail, and I'm sure you saw it in the title, but let's welcome back Jimmy the Legend Graham. He is back in New Orleans. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, guys, we're going to break down this as well. I'm going to give some thoughts and give some analysis. And believe it or not, it's not just a one-day deal. It's a one-year deal. He's going to be playing. So before we get into some thoughts, into some breakdowns of what happened with the Saints roster news, go ahead and join the channel, because anytime there's any sort of news or alerts or any juicy rumors, anything at all, we got you covered. So be sure to subscribe and turn on your notifications. And if that's not a good enough reason to subscribe or turn on your notice, we got a programming announcement. We're back live today. We got into the stew. I said, Boss Man Yoder, Boss Man Brett, I have to go live for the Who Dat Nation today. So we will be going live this afternoon. Time is TBD. I would expect it to be around 1 or 2 o'clock Central Time. But turn on your notifications, because that way you will get a push notification when we go live. Make sure they're set to all. We're going to be discussing the latest news. We're going to be having some fun, having a few drinks. So be sure to tune in to our live show later this afternoon. But Adam Schefter, he's the one who broke it down for Trai Turner. He said, a homecoming. It feels like Dennis Allen is the coach of homecomings. I mean, we're talking Jarvis last year, Tyrann Mathieu, Trai Turner, Foster Moore. I mean, it's been pretty cool. I'm not going to lie. But the Saints are signing former Pro Bowl guard Trai Turner to a one-year deal. Turner is from New Orleans and played at LSU. His agents, Drew Rosenhaus, and Ryan Matha confirmed the deal with the Saints. And if you guys tuned in yesterday, I talked a little bit about Trai Turner because he came in and visited with New Orleans. But let's take a look at the PFF numbers from those dorks over there. 766 snaps, an overall PFF grade of 53.0. That is it's not incredible, but it's decent enough. He's older. He's up there in age, not playing a ton of snaps. I'll take a 53 overall grade for a backup. I'm going to keep it real with y'all. And his pass blocking grade, 59.1. His run blocking grade, 52.7. He has 2 sacks allowed last season. So obviously, Trai Turner isn't somebody you want to rely on. However, when you take a look at the depth chart, he is somebody who fills in very nicely. Because if you remember, the Saints released Billy Price. You had Nick Saldiveri on the PUP list. However, he was activated off of the PUP list yesterday afternoon. So this offensive line looks very different than it did just 24 hours ago. I'm a big fan of how this line looks so far, and I was a big fan of the Saints signing Trai Turner. But I want to know, this show isn't about me. It's about the Who Dat Nation. What is your one-word reaction to the Saints signing Trai Turner? Get down in the comment section. You might get hit with the YouTube ad break here. So if you do, take advantage of it. Scroll on down, share your thoughts, let the ad play out, and then once it's done, or once you're done, the ad should be over and you can scroll on back up and, get some more coverage. All right, so personally, I love this move. I think it was a very necessary move. I love Andrus Peat. I love Cesar Ruiz. I love Calvin Throckmorton. They're all players that, at the end of the day, they're not terrible. Like, they're good enough when they're healthy. They're pretty solid. But I will say, I think that this was a move that needed to happen, and it just made too much sense because it is a homecoming. And like I said, the Saints needed offensive line depth, and now they get that in a quality veteran who has seen a lot of snaps. He's played a lot of football. He's played against some of the greatest talent that has been in our modern-day era of football, but he's also a New Orleans native. Like I said, he went to St. Augustine High School, played at LSU, 5-time Pro Bowler when he played with the Carolina Panthers from 2015 to 2019. So I think that it's a pretty interesting addition. You get somebody who knows how to play the speed of football that Trai Turner does, and I think that it's something, like I said, that was necessary for the Saints. And I'll say this, lean into the strengths. If you do have to rely on Trai Turner, lean into those strengths. Turner's a phenomenal run blocker. He's a lot better of a run blocker than he is a pass blocker. And I know the PFF numbers aren't going to do him a ton of justice, But what I will say is the athleticism is there to be an efficient pass blocker, but he is a lot better of a run blocker and run protection. I think that he can help Jamal Williams get you that 2 or 3 yards you need on a first down or on a third and goal or third and short. I think that he can help you get Alvin Kamara in open space. He is a player who has talent. And Alex K of Bleacher Report, we showed this quote yesterday, but I wanted to go back to it because I still think it brings up some interesting points. Turner should still have some good years ahead if he lands in a spot that can maximize his talents, and I truly do believe that spot is New Orleans. The guard turned 30 in June and has logged 7,713 offensive snaps, meaning he's been on the field for far fewer plays than many of his fellow offensive linemen who have been consistently starting in the NFL over the last decade. While injuries have hindered Turner's availability in the past, he's only missed 1 week with an ailment since the start of 2020. And I'll continue to say it, the best ability is availability. And if you're only missing 1 week since 2020, it's pretty solid. Makes me feel pretty good about that signing. And I feel good about it because this offensive line is injury prone. I mean, Andrus Peat alone, he's missed 19 games in the last 2 years. Cesar Ruiz, he's coming off of a foot injury. Calvin Throckmorton, he's a fine football player. He's just a little bit inexperienced. He doesn't have the snaps and he doesn't have all of the polished gameplay that you would want in a player to take over on the offensive line. So I think that having Trai Turner around over Calvin Throckmorton makes a lot of sense. I like to pair. I wouldn't mind pairing it with Nick Saldiveri if you need to rely on him. I think I have a little bit more faith in that pairing than Calvin Throckmorton, Trai Turner. I think it makes a little bit more sense. Just that's a personal opinion. And again, I'm not sitting here saying that Throckmorton's a bad football player by any means, but I think that Trai Turner, just because he's more of a veteran, he has real game experience, he has a lot of it, I think that that is valuable in itself. So guys, let's get some good juju going. Let's get some good juju going. And I promise we're talking Jimmy Graham here in the next 30 seconds. I promise. But I need minimal injuries this season because if the Saints can stay healthy, I truly do believe they will be one of the most successful teams in the league this year. I need you to like this video. Don't jinx it. Don't be the guy who in November I'm coming back to this video and saying, wow, I can't believe that insert this player or insert this viewer didn't like this video. And now we have all these injuries. So don't be that guy. Hit the thumbs up icon, like the video. We like to have fun. You know, that's what we do. But, wow. I couldn't believe my eyes. When I saw this tweet that we're about to show up on screen, I couldn't believe my eyes. I literally had to do a triple take. Because I looked over and I was like, Saints are tweeting something out. That's pretty cool. And then I looked over again and I was like, wait, that's the official account. And then I was like, no, it's not. And then I was like, wait, it has the gold check mark. The New Orleans Saints themselves broke this news. Guess who's back at Jimmy Graham? They showed the photo they attached the photo that we showed off the top of the show. Jimmy Graham's the New Orleans Saint again. So I guess you could say, producer Chip, I guess you could say that they won the trade with the Seahawks back in 2014, 2015, when they traded away Jimmy Graham to bring in Max Unger and some picks and whatnot. I guess you could say they won the trade because he's back. I mean, it's jokes. Again, we're trying to have some fun. But it's interesting nonetheless because it's not for a one-day contract. It's for a one-year contract so that way he can play. He's not a coach. He's not an advisor. He's not retiring with the team tomorrow. He is playing with the New Orleans Saints this season. And the stats in the black and gold are incredible. 386 receptions, 4,752 yards. It's hard to even comprehend that he also had 51 touchdowns. An average of 12.3 yards per catch. I mean, that duo between number 9 and number 80 was lethal. Drew Brees and Jimmy Graham was very, very dangerous. And I can sit here and tell you, I remember sitting at my grandmother's house in Houston, Texas, seeing that trade happen when I was just a wee little kid. And I was literally about to start crying. I was 8 or 9 years old. I don't even remember how old I was. Actually, I was way older than that. Point being, I was literally about to cry when I saw Jimmy Graham leave. But, like I said, it's not a one-year deal. He hasn't played since 2021. He last played with the Chicago Bears. If you remember, he actually had a walk-off touchdown in that Nickelodeon game against the Saints where he scored a touchdown as time expired. It was kind of funny. But, like I said, he isn't going to retire with the team. He's here to play, and he's going to fit into the depth chart. I think actually kind of nice. You still got Juwan Johnson as your TE1. That's not going to change. Foster Moreau, I mean, tight end 2 isn't even fair. I think it's more of like a 1A, 1B kind of thing. But Taysom Hill, we all know he's not a true tight end. We all know he does literally everything. He's a Swiss Army knife. I mean, what can't he do? Jimmy Graham, though, is going to fit in with Lucas, Kroll, Miller, Forrestall. I mean, these guys are going to get some very quality veteran leadership. And funny enough, I found this pretty interesting. Last time we saw him, he still put up some decent numbers. 14 receptions, 167 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 11.9 yards per catch. And I actually find this very interesting. Mike Triplett pointed this out. He said Jimmy Graham didn't play last year, but told the Pat McAfee show he, quote, ended up turning down a couple of teams because because for me, it's about the right situation and the ability to mentor some young guys. And obviously, just to catch fades in the red zone because I've always been pretty good at that. I need Jimmy Graham spikes in the goal or in the end zone. I need it. And then funny enough, he actually tweeted on June 19th, somebody tweeted out a video of the Saints playing against the Texans a handful of years ago when Jimmy Graham scored a touchdown. And he quote tweeted it on June 19th, said, I love that stadium. So I think it's kind of interesting that even a few weeks ago, he was still talking about the Saints. So, it's a little interesting note for you. Probably not going to find that elsewhere. So, guys, sound off for me before we head on out of here. Share your thoughts on the Saints signing Jimmy Graham. Get down in the comments section. Give me a 1-word reaction. Give me a 100-word reaction. I don't care. I just want to know what you think. Do you like the move? Do you hate it? Do you think it's weird? Are you confused? What's going on? Well, I can tell you we're going to break it all down and get your reactions on our live show here a little bit later this afternoon. So like I said, subscribe, turn on your notifications because it's going to be a lot of fun, and I promise you do not want to miss out. Y'all stay golden. We'll see you in a few hours.